All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I'm already on record as stating that I believe that the Lakers will make the playoffs, that they're going to win anywhere from 48 to 53 games this season, most likely somewhere around that 48-49 win range. But let me say this. These first three games have given me a bit of a quote-unquote cause to pause, to quote Stephen A. Smith. Do I still believe that they're going to win around 48 to 53 games? Yes, I'm not going to jump off that boat right now. I'm not going to jump off that boat right now. But I will say this. It's most likely that they're going to win somewhere around what ESPN prognosticated for that team, around 44 to 46 games. But we're going to see. This is truly going to be a litmus test for Mr. LeBron James to see what he can do with this young core. He's going to have to deal with a lot of assaults on his character and on his skill as a basketball player, because the Kobe Army is out there waiting for him to fail. I'm going to say it again. The Kobe Army is waiting for him to fail. And from what I've seen in the first three games, of course, it's an 82-game season, so I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But once again, the Western Conference is the varsity. It is the varsity out there in the Western Conference. So they're going to play Golden State 4 times. They have not played them yet. They have Houston at least another 2 times, maybe another 3 times. Portland another 2 or 3 times. San Antonio another 2 or 3 times. They have not played Oklahoma City yet. They have not played Utah yet. They have not played New Orleans yet. They have not played Minnesota yet. These are all teams that are on their level, presumably on their level or above their level. So would I be shocked, as I stated earlier, would I be shocked if they did not make the playoffs? No, I would not, but I'm expecting them to do so. But are they in trouble? Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
All right, let's move on. So the Lakers have now lost 3 straight games, as I said earlier, all to Western Conference opponents. But LeBron, he's not concerned.
No, he's concerned. He knows he just can't. He can't show it yet, because that LA media is waiting for their chance to attack. They're like a great white shark, and they smell the blood in the water right now with LeBron James. And keep in mind that the LA media, they would have, they had a respect for Kobe Bryant, but there was some antipathy there at various points in Kobe's career. But the thing about Kobe is that Kobe just didn't give a fuck. He didn't care about the media. He didn't care about what the populace at large thought about him. So that created a little bit of a force field around him in regards to how much criticism they were going to send his way. Because after those first 3 championships, he was pretty much Teflon. And then in the mid-2000s, when he was carrying the team, averaging 32, 35 points a game, there was not that much that they could say. And then by the late 2000s, he was taking the team to the finals. And then after that, of course, he was just operating on emeritus status. So there was only so much that they could say. LeBron James has to fill the shadow of Kobe Bean Bryant, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, so on and so forth. He has to win. He has to win. And what makes this narrative so interesting is that LA is full of itself and LeBron James is full of himself. So this is going to be a battle of the wills.
It's been a really long time since you've started a season 0-3.
Yes, that's my rookie year.
Is it? Okay.
See, LeBron James thinks that shit is cute. All those little silly memory parlor tricks. Oh, let me show you. I remember all the sequence of plays from game number 14 of my 3rd year. First, I got a layup. Then it was a steal. Then I got a dunk. And all that little silly shit that he started doing last year. He thinks that stuff is cute to distract from the fact that right now the pressure is on him to make sure that that team makes the playoffs. Because the Lakers have to make the playoffs. Once again, one of the arguing points that the LeBron James fans use in their crusade to try to prove that LeBron is the greatest player ever is that he has always gotten out of the first round. He's already had 2 years where he didn't make the playoffs, but they'll make the excuse of, well, he was 18 and 19. Well, right now he's 33, and he's playing on a very, very talented young team. So they have to make the playoffs. He could use all these memory parlor tricks that he wants.
Yeah, I know.
How tough is it?
No, it's not tough. I know what I got myself into. It's a problem.
Of course you know what you got yourself into. You had to go out there to LA to team up with your Kabbalistic overlords. In the meantime, you have to make sure that you do your best to do your part and hope that Daddy Adam Silver can force that trade where you can get Anthony Davis on your team. Because if that don't work, all hell gonna break loose.
Process. I get it. And we'll be fine. So, I didn't come here thinking we were gonna be, blazing storms, right out the gate. It's a process, and I understand that. So,
For right now, you understand it. For right now. I want to see how you look late December, early January. Lakers 9 games under 500. LeBron James on suicide watch. You're going to be watching regular television. It's going to say, we have to interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to report that LeBron James is standing on the roof of Staples Center and he's butt naked. He's threatening to jump.
The game is frustrating not to get the win, but I've showered and I'm good now.
Stephen A. Smith.
Yes?
You had that bold prediction. They're going to the Western Conference Finals as long as they don't face Golden State along the way. Sticking with that.
First of all, I can explain.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to stick to it for now. Just like I'm sticking to it for now in regards to my prediction. I'm not saying, and I've never said that the Lakers were going to get to the conference finals. I'm not silly enough to predict that. Stephen A. Smith was thinking with his rod as opposed to his brain because he wants to be out there in la-la come late May or early June or however deep the conference finals run, because that would be a dream of his to have the Lakers playing the Golden State Warriors in the conference finals. But once again, Stephen A. Smith is saying it. He understands that this is going to be rocky because once again, LeBron James, when he was in the Eastern Conference, he was far and away the best player in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, there are multiple players in the Western Conference that, even though they're not exactly as great as him per se, there are certain players that people think are already as great or better than him. And keep in mind, all of the MVPs since LeBron James won his last MVP have come from the Western Conference. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. So every night when he goes out there against a top team in the West, he's facing another superstar that is on his level. Not quite him per se, but on his level. So it's going to be a totally different kettle of fish out there in the Western Conference.
Nah, in all seriousness, I ain't fading from what I said one bit. There's 3 games in. There's 79 games to go.
Are you concerned?
No, not yet. I will tell you this. I understand, and I was just talking to my man Jalen Rose, you know him. I was just talking to him
Why you guys shout her out like that? Okay, she's married to Jalen Rose. Every time you mention Jalen Rose, you have to try to allude to the fact that they married?
a few minutes ago on GitHub. And, he was talking about it because I brought up how they don't have Jamal Crawford.
Yep.
And the reason why I bring up Jamal...
The Lakers don't need Jamal Crawford, bro. I mean, give me a break. Jamal Crawford is 40 years old. He could still boogie on people, especially in a league that's not as physical. But Jamal Crawford is not a pure shooter. He's a streak shooter who needs to ISO and who doesn't play defense. That's the last thing that the Lakers need right now.
Jamal Crawford. I want people to understand who Jamal Crawford is. Jamal Crawford is very sporadic and what have you, but also incredibly explosive. One of the most explosive offensive players when he gets going that you'll ever find.
Stephen A. Smith, you're the reason why many of you talking heads on television don't get taken very seriously. You try to act as if you're someone who understands the game on the level of a GM. Once again, Jamal Crawford is pushing 40 years old. You said that he's an explosive scorer. The Lakers don't need explosive scoring. They need defense. What are you talking about? Your attempt at a point would make more sense if Jamal Crawford was known for being a pure jump shooter who played defense.
He's something special to behold when he gets going. He's playing on the Phoenix Suns for $2.3 million. And the reason why I bring that up is because they wanted him last year, the Lakers. Obviously, he didn't want to come. He wanted a little bit more money. And they decided to give $17 million to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, I like Caldwell-Pope. I like KCP. All right? But for that much money, he got to shoot better and give me more offensively than he's giving me these first 3 games.
Stephen A. Smith, I have to stop you, bro. Once again, this is why you could not be a GM in the NBA. The reason why they're paying Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, number 1, he's much younger than Jamal Crawford. Number 2, he plays better defense. Number 3, he's considered a more pure long-range jump shooter than Jamal Crawford. Number 4, and most importantly, he's a client of Clutch Sports and Rich Paul. As a matter of fact, signing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was one of the contingencies in regards to being able to ascertain that they were going to get LeBron James. That was a favor that the Lakers did to Rich Paul. It was a favor of goodwill to show LeBron and Rich Paul that we're all in. That's what that was about, Stephen A. Smith.
Games. So I will confess that you need to see a level of heightened production from people like him and a few others. But here's what I love. I'm a Kyle Kuzma guy. I'm not a Brandon Ingram guy. I'm not saying...
I like Kuzma too. Kuzma has a lot of heart. He has a lot of grit. I'm just not crazy about his defense.
Brandon Ingram can't play. But I'm a Kyle Kuzma guy. I love Kyle Kuzma's offensive game. I think he's only going to blossom even more. And in the starting role last night, he dropped 37 on 15 to 25 shooting.
Yeah, but let's be for real. With the lack of defense that's being played in the NBA right now, is it that difficult to score 37 points if you're a young man like him with moderately good skills, 6'7", 6'8", who can put the ball on the floor and just runs the floor? It's not that difficult to score 30-plus points in the NBA right now, at least not the NBA that I'm watching.
Max and I have both been raving about Josh Hart. He dropped 20 and 10 last night. Oh, by the way, he's shooting 47% from three-point range. Oh, by the way, your guy, Lonzo Ball, is shooting 42% from three.
And looking decent.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so when I look at that, right, and I say, no, the numbers might be a bit high, but can these guys maintain an elevated level of success compared to what you saw from them last year? Yes. Is LeBron going to shoot 15% from three-point range the way he is right now? No. So I'm not.
LeBron's jump shooting form looks very off-kilter right now. Now, not as much as should have been made of his trips to Europe and Asia and his more than an athlete trips to try to promote and amplify his profile, his corporate brand. I don't think that enough was made of it this offseason before joining the Lakers, because you're not going to tell me that you were spending the amount of time that you needed to spend to make sure that your game was as sharp as it needed to be. The only person that I saw making the adequate amount of big deal about it was Skip Bayless. And I think that is showing early on, because it's very apparent to me that LeBron James is not particularly sharp right now.
I'm not really worried on that level. I will tell you, I don't like the fact that they're giving up the points that they're giving up, and I don't like the pace. If I'm concerned about one thing, Molly and Max, it's that the pace concerns me.
That's the best point that you've made this far, Stephen A. Smith. The pace is way too fast, and I've made that point in other videos. And I think that eventually it will become a point of contention between LeBron and Luke Walton. Eventually, LeBron is going to tell Luke, look, man, we're just moving the basketball way too fast in regards to our pace. It's wearing me down. I can't play 40 minutes and play at that pace. LeBron is never going to admit it publicly, because he has to maintain this facade that he's this Iron Man athlete who never feels fatigue and never gets hurt, so on and so forth. But he will open up to Luke Walton about that eventually, because he cannot keep up with that pace, not in the Western Conference. Those guys are just in better condition than what LeBron James is accustomed to. Teams like Portland and Utah and San Antonio or Golden State, it's nothing but a track meet out there. And it's going to take LeBron a long time to become accustomed to that. Once again, if the Lakers do not make the playoffs, it would not shock me. It really wouldn't. Because the demands that will be placed on LeBron and on that team in regards to the mental pressure and also the pressure to step up their defense is really going to hurt them down the stretch of the season. Really throughout the whole season. Because LeBron has not played defense for the last 2 years, and now all of a sudden he's in the Western Conference where there are better offensive players. I mean, to be quite honest with you, you can make the case that out of the top 20 offensive players in the NBA, 15 or 16 of them are in the Western Conference. Especially with LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, and Paul George all transplanting out there.
Because Luke Walton's got to find a way to slow it down. LeBron James can't play at this pace.
Agreed.
And last 82 games.
Oh, I like the pace.
It's too much for a guy that age.
Agreed.
You can't sustain it.
Yeah, I like that pace, actually.
Because you're an idiot. That's why you like that pace. Because you're an idiot. And you sit back and watch the games on TV and you look at those athletes like they're robots, and they're not. They get tired. They're human beings, Max Kellerman.
Actually, I may agree with you. You have to monitor the minutes for LeBron, and that's going to be a tough trick because they're going to need him on the floor a lot. But I like the fact that they're getting out and running. They have that kind of team that can...
The real issue is that they can't slow the pace down until their defense gets better and their rebounding gets better, because you slow the pace down with great defensive rebounding and a point guard who can moderate the pace. Now, they have that with Rondo, but you need better defensive rebounding. The Lakers are very light in the ass at the forward position. They have good skill players at the 3 and the 4 spot, but they don't have that bruiser. They lost that when they lost Julius Randle. They don't have that bruiser who can box out and get rebounds. And it's going to be too much on JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee's physique looks completely different in the last 3 years or so from what it looked like when he was with the Washington Wizards, so on and so forth. The Denver Nuggets, when he had far more, overall body width and girth around the shoulders. He slimmed down a great deal, most likely because the Golden State Warriors made him streamline his body so that he could play in their system, and it's carried over to the Lakers because now Luke Walton runs that same Golden State system. But just to get back to the point, the only way that they can slow down the pace on that team is if they rebound better on the defensive end and if they get stops.
Yeah, but they need to slow it down a little bit when he's in there.
Okay, here we go. Will the Lakers make the Western Conference Finals? I didn't think so to start the
Absolutely not.
season. I did think they would make the playoffs, and I thought they would win a playoff series. If there's one athlete
To be quite frank with you, I'm starting to doubt that they're going to win a playoff series unless they make a major trade. I really am. And to be quite frank with you, I have the sneaky suspicion that by early next year, I may be starting to doubt that they're going to make the playoffs, but we'll see.
professional sports
I like how hard they're playing. They're playing very hard right now, so I can't really just get off this boat right now. Not yet.
right now, who deserves our faith. I know I just said he choked last night, but even great clutch players choke sometimes. It is LeBron James. He deserves our faith because we've seen it time and again from LeBron. By the way, he gets to it.
I wouldn't use the word faith, not in a human being, but I'll say that LeBron James has built up enough equity that he deserves our regard and our respect for what he's done in the past. That's the same reason why I'm not going to say they're not going to make the playoffs just based off of an 0-3 start. Even though his history shows that every time that he started off 0-3, his team has not made the playoffs.
To a new place, whether it's Miami or Cleveland, year after year in Cleveland, he starts slow. It's like the Patriots with Belichick and Brady. We're wringing our hands and, oh my God, and the sky is falling, and then you turn around and there they are in the finals again. They ain't going to the finals. But it's hard for me to imagine them missing the playoffs, and yet, you look at the Western Conference, they're 0-3 right now. Are they better than the Warriors?
No.
Are they better
No
than
one
the
is.
Rockets? No.
You don't even have to ask those questions, Max Kellerman. Start with teams like the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, San Antonio Spurs, Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder. That's the question. Are they better than those type of teams? They're playing Phoenix, I think, later on this week. I'm not even quite sure if they can win that game. I expect that to be their first win, but if they lost, it wouldn't shock me.
I know the Jazz haven't looked good so far, but they're not better than the Jazz either. You have
The Jazz can lock down on defense, though. I'm not worried about the Jazz.
the Spurs, who did win 47 games without Kawhi last year, really. They added DeMar DeRozan. Are they better than, and you saw last night, like this Popovich, they're getting wide open shots on the Spurs.
Well, Popovich is a genius. Everybody knows that. He's a great coach. He just also happens to be a manipulative bastard. I'm sure that many San Antonio fans are not going to like that. It's okay. But Popovich is a genius as a coach. There's no doubt about that.
Constantly. They're better than the Blazers, who they lost to opening night. The Pelicans, I don't think they're better than the Pelicans. The Blazers, you have an argument.
Can I ask you a question?
The Thunder, the Nuggets, the T-Wolves.
I got a question for you.
It's tough.
Thank you, sir. I think that Max Kellerman, just by process of elimination, is making a rather good case that the Lakers may not make the playoffs. Let me rewind this back a little bit.
Tough. Blazers, who they lost to opening night. The Pelicans, I don't think they're better than the Pelicans. The Blazers, you have an argument.
Can I ask you a question?
The Thunder.
You have a slight argument with the Blazers. But the Blazers have been together for 3-4 years now as a unit. The one thing that's holding the Blazers back is that Damian Lillard thinks that he's Kobe Bryant. If Damian Lillard played more like a real point guard than somebody who's a 6-foot Kobe Bryant, that team would get markedly better.
Thunder,
Stop right
the
there.
Nuggets, the T-Wolves.
I got a question for you.
It's tough in the
I got a
West.
question for you. During an 82-game regular season, does the best team always win?
Nope.
So why are you asking, are they better than them just because they lost the first 3 games of the season?
I'm asking.
He's making an appraisal, Stephen A. Smith. He's making a prognostication based off of what he's seen so far and comparing them to other teams. Of course, it's a long season. But once again, the Lakers is becoming more and more apparent to me that should they make the playoffs, they're going to make it by the skin of their teeth. Right now, of course, the ceiling for the Lakers, in my view, out of respect to LeBron James and what he's been able to accomplish, the ceiling for them is the 3rd seed. The floor is not making the playoffs. If you were to ask me what's more likely than being the 3rd seed or not making the playoffs, I would say not making the playoffs.
Says that in general,
Look,
are these?
Fred,
Is it
three games is not a huge sample size. It's a small piece of evidence. But when you're looking at teams and you go, I think the Lakers are in the conversation with the Nuggets, the Blazers, the Spurs, right? The T-Wolves, because we think that the Warriors and the Rockets are a cut above, and I think most people think the Jazz and I think the Pelicans too, when you consider Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, maybe a little bit above.
Rockets, Thunder.
Right. You're saying, who do they fit in with? Well, this 3-game sample, I mean, by the way, the Thunder are also 0-3, makes you think, I don't know how they fare against these other teams. Now, I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I still believe they'll win a playoff series because LeBron deserves our faith. I agree with you about Kuzma and Hart versus Ingram and Lonzo. Lonzo and Ingram, and we had Magic on the show, he's talking them up, have more upside. But Hart and Kuzma are already nice players, and you're seeing it.
Another problem that the Lakers are having right now in regards to the LeBron James experiment is that LeBron James is having a hard time getting these young guys to play in the LeBron James system. It's very difficult for him right now. He's 33 going on 34. He came to a new environment, and he's trying to find a way to mesh the LeBron James system with the Golden State Warriors system that Luke Walton is playing. That's why I stated at some point, if their play continues in this way, expect there to be some issues between LeBron James and Luke Walton. Because the real problem is going to be that LeBron James is not able to play his style of play, which is give me the basketball in the center of the floor. Everybody else just go out to the 3-point line in the corners. Either I'm going to break my man down and dunk it, or I'm going to kick it out to you, be ready. And that's how you have to play with LeBron James.
By the time the playoffs roll around, I think they'll get there, barely. I think they'll be good by then. But, Stephen A., it's going to be touch and go whether they make it this season.
I'm not concerned at all, not even a little bit. And oh, by the way, Magic does have to go out and get another shooter. There is no doubt about that. But in terms of them losing their first 3 games, keep in mind that Russell Westbrook came back, dropped 32, 12, and 8, I believe. They lost to the Sacramento Kings.
Right, but Stephen A. Smith, the Oklahoma City Thunder are not trying to fit a player of the like of LeBron James into their overall team architecture. They're basically bringing back the same guys that they had last year. Of course, they added the kid from the Atlanta Hawks, the quote-unquote backup point guard, who I think is going to fit in with them very well down the line. But it's nothing like the LA Lakers experiment that's going on right now. I expect the OKC Thunder to be somewhere around that 48 to 51 win area as well. That's why I say it's going to be fun to watch how much the Lakers improve, or if they even improve at all. Because once again, it will not shock me if they don't make it. The Denver Nuggets are very good. I saw them against the Golden State Warriors. They matched up pretty well with the Warriors. So we already know how well they should match up with the Lakers because they are more experienced. I think that the Lakers may have better personnel than the Denver Nuggets. But the Denver Nuggets are better coached. And just because the Lakers might have more talent does not mean that they have better players for that system. So, once again, we're going to find out. The Minnesota Timberwolves, how well are they going to play with that Karl Anthony Towns versus Jimmy Butler issue? The Portland Trail Blazers, can they find their way back in the playoffs? The New Orleans Pelicans look like they're going to be a problem. If I had to pick a team that definitely was going to be the 3rd seed this year, based off of the little bit that I've seen, I would say New Orleans.
Are we having a conversation about whether or not the Kings are better than Oklahoma City Thunder. No. It happens. Mere bag of shells. It's early. There's 79 games to go. It's okay.
No. I agree with him about this. The Rockets beat the Lakers, and the Rockets are better than the Lakers. The Blazers and the Spurs both beat the Lakers. I'm not sure they're better than the Lakers, but I'm not sure the Lakers are better than them either. It's a question mark.
I don't know about the...
I agree with that. I think that they're all on the same level. The separation is going to be who has the better coach and which team is more comfortable playing with one another.
The Rockets yet, and I told them that to their face. Listen, James Harden is a superstar. We know how I feel about CP3. I don't know how that defense is going to look. I have to wait and see.
Well, we know how the LA Lakers defense looks, Stephen A. Smith. Their defense looks horrific. They can't stop a nosebleed.
I have to wait and see. I don't know that.
All right.
I don't know that.
Stephen A. has the Lakers going to Western Conference Finals.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
But anyway, we'll see how things go with the LA Lakers and Mr. LeBron James, and how long it takes Stephen A. Smith to come in and put his pinky next to his mouth and say that he no longer thinks that the Lakers are going to get to the conference finals. But anyway, peace.